Yes, boxing fans, and welcome to the Mob Predictions with me, Chris Chapman. If you haven't done so already, hit like, hit subscribe, and check out all our other great content from all the providers with the Mob Predictions, Matthias himself, Ian Williams, and Jordan Huntley. Today we are going to discuss the controversial trilogy fight for the WBC Heavyweight Championship between Tyson Fury and former champion Deontay Wilder. Not only will we try to predict the fight, we will try to make sense of how the heavyweight division got to this point and where it goes post this contest. So it goes without saying that the majority of boxing fans outside of Wilder's fan base were stoked at the idea of finally getting the undisputed fight between Fury and Joshua. It seemed so close. Hearn had powered through the Arum and Warren and even Tyson himself negative media releases and got a site fee from Saudi Arabia. However, as we all unfortunately know, it was not to be. Judge Daniel Weinstein, not the first Weinstein to mess something up for loads of people, ruled in favour of Deontay Wilder and ordered the third fight for the WBC Heavyweight Championship. So before we delve deeper into the happenings and the fight itself, let's check the tail of the tape, starting with the champion, Tyson Fury. The Gypsy King stands 6'9" and is, apart from the behemoth Nikolai Valuev, the tallest heavyweight champion in history. And he also holds the reach advantage in this contest at 85 inches.
Introducing the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury.
Fury comes into the bout age 33 with the record of 31 fights, 30 wins against the hotly disputed draw in the first Wilder fight. Fury has stopped 21 of his opponents, including Wilder, in the February 2020 rematch. The Bronze Bomber stands a tall 6'7" and carries an 83-inch reach.
Introducing the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder.
Wilder is the older fighter and come fight night will be almost 36 years old. His record stands at 44 fights, 42 wins, 1 defeat and 1 draw. Obviously, the former champion and Olympic bronze medalist is known for his devastating power and has stopped 41 of his opponents. So circling back to the happenings, we had the confusing spectacle of Tyson accept the AJ fight only to receive the previously mentioned ruling. The question I have to ask is how Bob Arum, a qualified lawyer, could let this happen or really believe it had expired. The fact is, this just doesn't sit right with me or any boxing fan that I have talked to. It has left a hangover on the marketing of this fight, which was already a tough sell after the conclusive one-sided nature of the second fight in February 2020. And a quick sidebar on that for Wilder fans, I don't buy any of his excuses. He was just found wanting against a much better man on the night. Mark Breland did the mature, sensible and life-saving thing by throwing in the towel. As what seems a common occurrence with Tyson Fury fights is this was originally slated for July the 24th, but was postponed as Tyson failed a COVID test. While I do not doubt positive COVID test was recorded, I found the pictures of him mingling with fans so soon after highly suspect, and it lends weight to the fact that ticket sales may have played a part in this delay happening. It just adds another thing on the list of Fury that make it hard to trust him and support his actions. Over the years, he has vacated titles rather than take on mandatories, i.e. the British title, to avoid David Price, said he would take fights publicly only to go back on his word, i.e. Dillian White, Anthony Joshua, and above all, just digest this. He has been a pro since 2008. He first won a world title in 2015. He won a second world title in 2020. And this is his first title defence of any belt other than a Commonwealth title. Yet Joshua is the bodybuilding dosser, a man with 10 world title fights to his name. One unique aspect to this trilogy fight is the activity of both fighters, as both had their last contest against each other 18 months ago. I feel that obviously the pandemic has played its part in this, but from Wilder's perspective, he was more happy to have this time and work out his mental state and bed in with his new lead trainer, Malik Scott. Fury announced he would fight on December the 5th of 2020, but this did not happen, and for me has never been clearly explained. Did Fury's team have an inkling about the arbitration, or was it simply a finance issue? But this inactivity has definitely rankled Fury more and led to many public statements from him regarding activity levels of fighters. Fury has been one of the few top echelon boxers not to have fought in the pandemic. Consider that the rivals in the division from Joshua, White, Usyk, Chisora, Otto Wallin, Joe Parker, Andy Ruiz have all had at least one contest. Baffling really that Top Rank and Queensberry have not been able to get Fury into a ring unless it has been by design on all of their parts. So looking at how this battle will play out, if fingers crossed both Fury and Wilder make it into the ring on October the 9th, the first thing about the fight I will say is I am wholly unconvinced by the words and interviews from Malik Scott regarding the changes that Wilder can make in his style. Scott has stated that the body will be the main target, while Wilder literally will be changing a habit of a boxing lifetime if this is to be true. Wilder has been a notorious headhunter. He has had opportunities to target the body against the lesser opposition, such as Eric Molina and Artur Spilka, and he didn't. And at the time of the stoppages from his big right hand in those contests, I had Wilder behind in those fights. And that was due to the one-dimensional nature of Wilder's style to date, taking nothing away from that right hand, as I've mentioned. And one other thing regarding this link-up is if a former champion in Mark Breland can be so easily discarded and treated so badly, if a lifetime friendship with Jay Diaz, a guy who has been demoted, is a guy who Wilder iced in one round really going to command respect when things get tough? On Fury's part, he doesn't have to, in my opinion, make technical adjustments. Fury worked Wilder out by the midpoint of the first fight. It was only his weight and rustiness after the post-Klitschko layoff that left him susceptible to the rights that put him down. Fury, for once, was a man of his word and met Wilder dead centre, backed him up, and dominated the second fight, and showed the total lack of ability of Wilder to work off the back foot. Fury's lateral movement and double jab were beautiful to behold, and truly were a credit to the Kronk gym and style. For Wilder to change all of this around would require not only a radical style change, as we have discussed, but the hope Fury is in some way overlooking this fight. Some people will point to Wilder's suspect resume of opponents as to account for why his KO record is what it is, but while his opponent list and title defences are questionable, I do still believe Wilder carries brutal power, and simply coupled with clever matchmaking from PBC, it has covered for his deficiencies. So while Fury has to be careful, I firmly believe Wilder's power will be negated again in this third fight. Boxing, like history, follows patterns, and I have never known a big puncher to come back the same in an immediate rematch after the aura and mystique has been destroyed. This contest will go as follows. In the first round, Wilder will come to the centre and attempt to show more movement and feints to the body. Fury will clock this and probably lose the first based on activity while he's taking a look at Wilder. But by the third round, I feel Fury will have his timing and be on the front foot, and the pressure will push Wilder into reverting to type and start winging in big overhand rights. I just cannot make a case for Wilder in this fight. This is, in my opinion, his cash-out contest, and I do not think he will fight again after this. Fury will stop him once again, and after gaining his timing and range by the 3rd round, he will go one better and stop Wilder in the 6th, after unloading through the 4th and 5th. I expect Fury to use his movement and avoid the big shots, and I expect him to use his size, and he'll put all his weight on Wilder. So I certainly do not envision any more impressions of The Undertaker coming from Tyson Fury. So once more, I'm going for the WBC champion Tyson Fury to stop Deontay Wilder in the 6th round. My true hope is that Tyson wins and gets serious about actually being active and putting on the fights with the opponents that we want to see. This obviously means Anthony Joshua. Everyone wants to see that contest, and it was heartbreaking when we knew we weren't getting it in August. Obviously, I include in this the most deserving heavyweight contender, a man with a great record of opponents and who is long overdue his WBC title shot, Dillian Whyte. It's Tyson who should be the man to give him that title shot, even if that does delay the Joshua fight by a few months. Because if Tyson Fury is active and focused, boxing and the heavyweight division are all the more richer for it. So there we have it, mobsters. Thank you for tuning in to the Mobs preview of Fury and Wilder 3. I have been Chris Chapman, and catch you on the next video. Bada bing, bada boom.